Dramatic reading, take 3. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 2. Dobby's Warning. Harry managed not to shout out, but it was a close thing. The little creature on the bed had large, bat-like ears and bulging green eyes, the size of tennis balls. Harry knew instantly that this was what had been watching him out of the garden hedge that morning. As they stared at each other, Harry heard Dudley's voice from the hall. "May I take your coats, Mr. and Mrs. Mason?" The creature slipped off the bed, and bowed so low that the end of its long, thin nose touched the carpet. Harry noticed that it was wearing what looked like an old pillowcase, with ribs for arm and leg holes.
Hello?" said Harry nervously.
"Harry Potter!" said the creature in a high-pitched voice Harry was sure would carry down the stairs. "So long has Dobby wanted to meet you, sir. Such an honor it is."
"Thank you," said Harry, edging along the wall and sinking into his desk chair next to Edwy, who was asleep in her large cage. He wanted to ask, "What are you?" but thought it would sound so rude, so instead he said, "Who are you?"
"Dobby, sir. Just Dobby. Dobby the house elf," said the creature.
"Oh, really?" said Harry. I don't want to be rude or anything, but this isn't a great time for me to have a house elf in my bedroom."
Aunt Petunia's high, false laugh sounded from the living room. The elf hung his head.
"Not that I'm not pleased to meet you," said Harry quickly, "but is there any particular reason you're here?"
"Oh, yes, sir," said Dobby earnestly. "Dobby has come to tell you, sir. It's difficult, sir. Dobby wonders where to begin."
"Sit down," said Harry politely, pointing at the bed.
To his horror, the elf burst into tears, very noisy tears. "Sit down!" he wailed. "Never, never, ever!"
Harry thought he heard the voices downstairs falter. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I didn't mean to offend you or anything."
"Offend Dobby?" choked the elf. "Dobby has never been asked to sit down by a wizard like an equal."
Harry, trying to say "shh" and look comforting at the same time, ushered Dobby back onto the bed, where he was hiccupping, looking like a large and very ugly doll. At last he managed to control himself, and sat with his great eyes fixed on Harry in an expression of watery adoration. "You can't have met so many decent wizards," said Harry, trying to cheer him up.
Dobby shook his head. Then, without warning, he leapt up and started banging his head furiously on the window, shouting, "Bad Dobby! Bad Dobby!"
"Don't! What are you doing?" Harry said, springing up and pulling Dobby back onto the bed. Hedwig had woken up with a particularly loud screech, and was beating her wings wildly against the bars of her cage.
"Dobby had to punish himself, sir," said the elf, who had gone slightly cross-eyed. "Dobby almost spoke ill of his family, sir."
"Your family?"
"The wizard family Dobby serves, sir. Dobby is a house elf, bound to serve one house and one family forever."
"Oh, do they know you're here?" asked Harry curiously.
Dobby shuddered. "Oh, no, sir, no. Dobby will have to punish himself most grievously for coming to see you, sir. Dobby will have to shut his eyes, ears in the oven for this. If they ever knew, sir."
"But won't they notice if you shut your ears in the oven door?"
"Dobby doubts it, sir. Dobby is always having to punish himself for something, sir. They let Dobby get on with it, sir. Sometimes they reminds me to do extra punishments."
"But why don't you leave? Escape?"
"A house elf must be set free, sir, and the family will never set Dobby free. Dobby will serve the family until he dies, sir."
Harry stared. "And I thought I had it bad staying here for another 4 weeks," he said. "These make the Dudleys Um, sounds all human. Can't anyone help you? Can't I? Almost at once, Harry wished that he hadn't spoken. Dobby dissolved again into waves of gratitude. "Please," Harry whispered frantically, "please be quiet. If the Dursley hear anything, if they know you're here—"
Harry Potter asks if he can help, Dobby. Dobby has heard of your greatness, sir, but of your goodness, Dobby never knew.
Harry, who was feeling distinctly hot in the face, said, "Whatever you have heard about my greatness is a load of rubbish. I'm not even top of my hair at Hogwarts. That's Hermione. She—" But he stopped quickly, because thinking about Hermione was painful.
Harry Potter is humble and modest, said Dobby reverently, his orb-like eyes aglow. Harry Potter speaks not of his triumph over he who must not be named.
"Voldemort?" said Harry.
Dobby clapped his hands over his bad ears and moaned, "Ah! Speak not the name, sir! Speak not the name!"
"Sorry," said Harry quickly. I know a lot of people don't like it. My friend Ron—" He stopped again. Thinking about Ron was painful too.
Dobby leaned toward Harry, his eyes wide as headlights. "Dobby heard tell," he said hoarsely, "that Harry Potter met the Dark Lord for a second time, just weeks ago. That Harry Potter escaped yet again."
Harry nodded, and Dobby's eyes suddenly shone with tears.
"Ah, sir," he gasped, dabbing his face with a corner of the grubby pillowcase he was wearing. "Harry Potter is valiant and bold. He has braved so many dangers already. But Dobby has come to protect Harry Potter, to warn him, even if he does have to shut his ears in the open door later. Harry Potter must not go back to Hogwarts."
There was a silence broken only by the chink of the knives and forks from downstairs, and the distant rumble of the Uncle Vernon voice. "What?" Harry stammered. "But I've got to go back. Term starts on September 1st. It's all that keeping me going. You don't know what it's like here. I don't belong here. I belong in your world, at Hogwarts."
"No, no, no, no!" squeaked Dobby, shaking his head so hard his ears flapped. "Harry Potter must stay where he is safe. He is too great, too good to lose. If Harry Potter goes back to Hogwarts, he will be in mortal danger."
"Why?" said Harry in surprise.
"There is a plot, Harry Potter. A plot to make most terrible things happen at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry this year," whispered Dobby, suddenly trembling all over. "Dobby has known it for months, sir. Harry Potter must not put himself in peril. He's too important, sir."
"What terrible things!" said Harry at once. "Who's plotting them?"
Dobby made a funny choking noise, and then banged his head frantically against the wall.
"All right!" cried Harry, grabbing the elf's arm to stop him. "You can't tell me. I understand, but why are you warning me?" A sudden, unpleasant thought struck him. "Hang on. This hasn't got anything to do with sorry, with you-know-who, has it? You could just shake or not?" He added hastily as Dobby's head titled worryingly close to the wall again.
Slowly, Dobby shook his head. "Not he who must not be named, sir."
But Dobby's eyes were wide, and he seemed to be trying to give Harry an hint. Harry, however, was completely lost.
Fucking kidding me.
"He hasn't got a brother, has he?"
Dobby shook his head, his eyes wider than ever.
"Well then, I can't think who else would have a chance of making horrible things happen at Hogwarts," said Harry. "I mean, There's Dumbledore, for one thing. You know who Dumbledore is, don't you?
Dobby bowed his head. Albus Dumbledore is the greatest headmaster Hogwarts has ever had. Dobby knows it, sir. Dobby has heard Dumbledore's power rival those of he who has not been named at the height of his strength. But, sir, Dobby's voice dropped to an urgent whisper, there are powers Dumbledore doesn't. Powers no decent wizard.
And before Harry could stop him, Dobby bounded off the bed, seized Harry's desk lamp, and started beating himself around the head with the hair-splitting yelps.
A sudden silence fell downstairs. 2 seconds later Harry heard thudding madly, heard Uncle Vernon coming into the hall, calling, Dudley must have left his television on again, the little tyke.
Quick, in the closet, hissed Harry, stepping Dobby in, shutting the door, and flinging himself onto the bed just as the door handle turned.
What the hell are you doing? Said Uncle Vernon through gritted teeth, his face horribly close to Harry's. You've just ruined the punchline of my Japanese gopher joke. One more sound and you wish you'd never been born, boy.
He stomped flat-footed from the room. Shaking, Harry led Dobby out of the closet. See what it's like here? He said. See why I've got to go back to Hogwarts. It's the only place I've got. Well, I think I've got friends.
Friends who don't even write to Harry Potter? Said Dobby slyly.
I expect they've just been... Wait a minute, said Harry, frowning. How do you know my friends haven't been writing to me?
Dobby shuffled his feet. Harry Potter mustn't be angry with Dobby. Dobby did it for the best.
Have you been stopping my letters?
Dobby has them here, sir, said the elf, stepping nimbly out of Harry Potter's reach. He pulled a thick wad of envelopes from the inside of his pillowcase he was wearing. Harry could make out Hermione's neat writing, Ron's untidy scroll, and even a scribble that looked as though it was from the Hogwarts gamekeeper, Hagrid. Dobby blinked anxiously up to Harry. Harry Potter mustn't be angry. Dobby hoped if Harry Potter thought his friends had forgotten him, Harry Potter might not want to go back to school, sir.
Harry wasn't listening. He made a grab for the letters, but Dobby jumped out of reach.
Harry Potter will have them, sir, if he gives Dobby his word that he will not return to Hogwarts. Ah, sir, this is a danger you must not face. Say you won't go back, sir.
No, said Harry angrily. Give me my friend's letter.
Then Harry Potter leaves Dobby no choice, said the elf sadly.
Before Harry could move, Dobby had darted to the bedroom door, pulled it open, and sprinted down the stairs.
Mouth dry, stomach lurking, Harry sprang after him, trying not to make a sound. He jumped the last 6 steps, landing cat-like on the hall carpet, looking around for Dobby. From the dining room he heard Uncle Vernon saying, Tell Petunia that very funny about those American plumbers, Mr. Mason. She's been dying to hear.
Harry ran up the hall into the kitchen and felt his stomach disappear.
Aunt Petunia's masterpiece of a pudding, the mountain of cream and sugared violets, was floating up near the ceiling. On top of a cupboard in the corner crouched Dobby.
No, cried Harry. Please, they'll kill me.
Harry Potter must say he's not going back to school.
Dobby, please.
Say it, sir.
I can't.
Dobby gave him a tragic look. Then Dobby must do it, sir, for Harry Potter's own good.
The pudding fell to the floor with a heart-stopping crash. Cream splattered the windows and walls as the dish shattered. With a crack like a whip, Dobby vanished.
There were screams from the dining room, and Uncle Vernon burst into the kitchen to find Harry, rigid with shock, covered from head to foot with Aunt Petunia's pudding. Praise the sun.
What?
Praise the fucking sun.
Okay, we can cut.
We can just leave it in until soon. We had a hardware problem there. I think if we don't say anything, it's
I would do the sound checks and then see. This.
Oh no, it's still recording.
Ah.
It's still recording. It doesn't stop.
No.
Shit.
You said, oh, we'll say Sonia who have hardware problems. Yeah.
Because we had a hardware problem.
Yeah.
Why is it still recording? This is the power of software and hardware. Really, why is it so slow? Right now it's composing the video, I guess. It's trying to save it because 15 minutes is a lot.
No.
Will you fucking stop?
¿Qué ha pasado?
It's not working.
Oh.
Should have asked
that
my
was right.
should have asked my girlfriend for the laptop of hers because hers is bigger. No. Yes, no, maybe. You know the problem with saving is there's an API there. It's horribly big.
Yeah.
Venga, yeah.
My apologies. What's the problem?
Mm.
Harry Potter!
Harry Potter!
How was that? Act coaching?
Hiccoughing.
Hiccoughing?
Hiccoughing.
Hiccoughing. Hiccoughing. What's the
Hiccoughing.
meaning? Hiccoughing. Oh, okay. Hiccoughing.
Why the fuck is it not working?
Hiccoughing.
It's still recording!